Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forge Lines Forever. Today I have a 4v4 ladder match here on the map ODDA. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players. We'll start with Team 1 on the northern side of the map, and we'll end with Team 2 on the southern side of the map. It also means it is Team 1 being blue team and Team 2 being the red team. Starting off with Team 1's isolated player on the eastern side with a little sad face. There he is, Katawunga, playing as a UEF for this match in Stitch Blue as a 1548 rated. To his west, starting with Team 1's eastern side player on their little landmass there, it is ChuckNorrising, playing as a Cybran. He is a 1385 rated. Next door to him we have in Amethyst Purple, it is DillyDally, playing as a Cybran as well. He is a 1594 rated. He is the highest rated player on Team 1 and barely beats out Team 2's highest rated player for the highest rated player overall. And then rounding off Team 1 on the southern western tip of their landmass, it is Kiriy. He is a UEF. He is a 1317 rated in Tropical Ocean Blue, matching the water quite nicely. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 UEF and 2 Cybran. That's it. No Aeons and no Seraphim for Team 1. Moving on to Team 2's isolated player on the western side, we have in Blood Angel Red, it is JJ Sheridan, playing as the one and only Seraphim of the game. He is a 1449 rated. To his east in Chevy Crimson, we have the UEF of PFJ, playing as a UEF. He is a 1363 rated. And next door to him, we have in orange color orange, it is Picoo, playing as the one and only Aeon of the match, as a 1570 rated, the highest rated player on Team 2. And to his north, rounding out Team 2 and the game, already making his way to the northern side of the map, it is Ferdn, playing as a UEF. He is a 1358 rated in light oak tan. So for Team 2 side of the map, they have 2 UEF, 0 Cybran this time, but they make up for it for having 1 Aeon and 1 Seraphim, which means for this match, not every faction is represented on each of the teams, but every faction is represented overall. So again, nobody missing out on all of the fun. And for these 8 players on the map, we'll take a look at their reclaim situation. Currently sitting at, it's not really a lot, 5,000 mass. I mean, for 8 players, not really worried about. And again, the reclaim does reside on the edge of the map, because the majority of the map, of course, is taken up by the water. So map's going to be a little bit sparse on the reclaim, but at least for the western player of Team 2 and the eastern player of Team 1, they will have a little bit of extra mexes to go around. In that way, there's not really a lot of extra mexes on the main land masses for Team 2 and Team 1, at least the ones in the northwest and southeastern corner. There is a couple of mexes too on the Strimex position there. There's also some mexes over in the pond. They're not actually in, well, some of them are actually in the water. Some of them are, well, in the water, just kind of sort of not in the water. I wonder if the mex actually sticks out. I don't think it does. It's not that tall. But anyway, there's a couple of mexes. So the number on the right-hand side of the screen will go up a little bit slowly. But again, this is a naval map, so it's just going to be a slower map and match anyways, because it's just there's lots of water. Big giant boats shooting at one another. That's what we like to see, at least in naval matches. Take a look at the calm distributions. We do see it's a 1v1 on the eastern side, 1v1 on the maybe 2v1. PFJ is inbound. As of right now, it is a 1v1 though. And upgrades have been completed. Kiriy has a gun upgrade done, and JJ has his T2 upgrade almost done. Eastern side, T2 for Ferdn, and then a gun started for Katawunga. So Team 1 going offensive, Team 2 going defensive, and then offensive. Both of those players I highlighted, Ferdn and JJ, are going for their gun upgrades, and they are both, no, one is Seraphim, one is UEF. Never mind. Not that they were both UEFs, but they're not. PFJ is the other UEF for Team 2. We do see forces have landed for Kiriy. It looks like some of them for Team 2 actually get behind them, but it's not really going to matter because they don't have hover on either of those units. So that's not really going to go anywhere. The Zooey would be the unit that you would need to use to get hover the other side of the map there, but for now, that is not going to work for Team 2 as of yet. Eastern side, we do see Team 1's combo of Katawunga is inbound. Ferdn actually gets hit by the side there by some T1 strikers. That's never fun for him. He's getting surrounded again. Katawunga does have gun on board. Ferdn has gun and T2, so 2,000 additional hit points. might not save him for long, and he's getting gummed up in the works by those units from Katawunga, so no escape for him. He might get some veterancy, but even that might not save him. And he might be the first casualty of the game. Not looking too hot for him. There he goes. Team 1 scores first blood against Team 2, dropping this game to a 4v3 in Team 1's favor. And again, it is meaning that Team 2's Ferdn's base will be belong to, looks like Picoo, probably permanently. It would make sense because he's closer to that side of the map than, let's say, PFJ, for example. It would make no sense for having JJ get it because he's on literally the opposite side of the map. But it does mean that one player on Team 2 does have double base, which means they already are at 100+ mass a second, which in naval matches can easily spiral in their favor. So definitely going to be worried, Team 1 at least, about Picoo and what he's up to. We do see JJ still pushing in with his gun in T2 comm. And Kiriy has a little bit more defenses online, but not by much. And with the Zui coming into range, those structures are going to get riddled apart really, really quickly. Riddled apart. They're going to be riddled with holes and torn apart by those artillery shots because they just rip that structures apart. Again, they are nice because they just, well, not continuously shoot, but decently shoot. But you know, once they're in range, they do fire, so you don't have to worry too much. They were the only designed for one-shot wonders anyways. JJ, you're going to get another T2 PD online, and Kiriy kind of just being ignored right now, focusing on the structures, trying to make sure that Team 1 has no infrastructure. So once that is dealt with, you can push Kiriy with no issue. Again, doesn't maybe want to kill him because it would give a second base to somebody on Team 1. And it kind of had the same conversation about it probably would be given over to DillyDally. So, yeah, it looks like he's going to just let him escape for now. There was a huge opportunity to grab him, though. It was not one of those like, oh, hey, I mean, a smidgen amount of time. No, he definitely could have got him, but decided not to. And it looks like JJ going to continue to push and just firmly secure this nice little trimix position for his side of the map and completely push out Kiriy. He is still there, to be fair. He's dropping into the almost reds there. He's at 2-star vet. And T2PD still hitting him, but he's going to get into the pond. He's going to get out of there. T2PD going to be trying to be built. I don't know if it's smart to stand there. Again, he's going to try to maybe stick with it a little bit longer, but I don't think it's worth it even from a tactical standpoint. You might as well fall back and retreat. Maybe get some more units or something and fall back. But maybe Team 2 will just kill him off. Maybe not. No, there he goes. 800 hit points remained before he got underneath the surface. He does have some T2 Riptides nearby to maybe assist. Looks like they're going to get bombed by some of those, bombers from Team 2. And the nice little Sao-Issil, the submarine, can't target the hover units because the hover isn't in the water, so the torpedo does absolutely nothing. JJ actually just walking near him. Looks like he might actually go for the kill here. Never mind. I thought he was going to let him escape, but I guess not. And with the torpedo capable unit just north of this position, it's going to be a kill for Team 2. I thought he was going to just kind of let him go home, but I guess not. And there he goes, fires up a couple of torpedoes, and Kiriy is just taking it. I mean, he definitely knows what's happening. And there he goes. Team 1 loses the player of Kiriy to JJ Sheridan. It is now a tied game once again at 3v3 at 13 minutes on the dot. Thought this was going to be a longer 4v4 game, but it has now become a 3v3, so never mind. We do see a couple of Salem-class destroyers online for Team 1's Chuck Norris. He is ChuckNorrising, whatever that means in the FAF realm. We have a couple of other Salems online for Team 1. And there are so many good Chuck Norris jokes. I think one of my favorite is Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down. I think that's one of my favorites. And then PFJ getting T2 destroyers online. T2 also online over here right to the east of that for Picoo. Looks like he's focused a little bit more on air, which again, for an Aeon, he is the only one in the game able to build the Solace torpedo bombers. Those things are nasty. Very, very powerful units. So he might even build a couple of those and may even forego T2 torp bombers because he still has T2 torps. So that is available to him, but it looks like he's dealing with a little bit of an annoyance from these Lobos that got dropped off. That one's going to be actually fine, surprisingly. Looks, oh, nope, and he's dead. Never mind. That is going to be fine, but he died. Bombers inbound. A couple of T2 mexes will be lost. That'll be unfortunate because it is, again, a starting location for somebody. It's a main base eco, but there are some... those Swift wins, but no, those are still Coronas. He didn't do the T2 Swift wins. He just probably went straight for T3, which, again, I don't blame him. It is a bigger map. There's less players. There's a little bit less of focus on air just because, again, there's a big, giant pond in the middle to focus on, so... he's allowed to not go for T2 because, again, sometimes Aeon players will go T1 interceptors, T2 for the Swift runs, and then T3. But in this game, it doesn't look like he's done that. He does have some T2 Torps. Again, they are cheaper, to be fair, but they don't produce as much firepower as the Solaces. Speaking of T3, Shocker online. He's going to get shot out of the sky. Already killed off 4,000 mass, and... oh, it stops for a brief moment and gets annihilated by interceptors, but it's already killed off. Looks like that mechs. It's already killed off another mechs. Looks like it got another mechs. Did it get one over here? It did not. So it looks like, well, this is dead, but I highly doubt that was from the Shocker. But he's killed off at least one mechs in every location on the western side, so done very well for himself, chopping away a little bit of the eco for Team 1. TAC missile started for JJ. That's not going to be great for Team 1 to deal with. Unless they get some TMD, which they do already have online. JJ could easily just fire at that and walk back. There is a AA there, but no other TMD. And there is a nice little Zooey up here, which, honestly, I mean, it should be targeting the E storage, to be honest. I already killed off one of them, but looks like it was going after P-Gens. And we do see those forces from Team 1 try to invade the facilities on the eastern edge. Maybe they're trying to wipe out an entire player's, or player starting location's player of eco, which... not a bad idea, but Team 2 said absolutely not and is chasing down that last Salem as we speak. He can't even escape on the land because if he does, he'll be very slow and very outnumbered already. We do see T2 mechs barely holds on there. We see a couple of PD being built in those mechs just in case some annoyances from Team 1 happen to come by again. And in the middle of the map, again, Team 1 has control of the middle for the most part. There's one random destroyer running around. Is it in sub mode? It is not in sub mode. It might need to go into sub mode shortly because nice ability to sneak around. Sneak being the fact that it can't be hit by main guns, just torpedoes and other stuff that has torpedoes, which is just torpedoes. JJ has TAC missile online. Still TMD is there. Again, his Yenzine, all they need to do is target... not that, because that thing is, almost gets the T2 mechs. But that TMD is going to be proved to be a little bit more annoying than he definitely wants it to be. Also, if a nice little cruiser from Team 1 Siren players comes to say hi, the missile could be redirected to him. I don't know if missiles can't go in the water. I think once they hit the water, they just fall apart and die or explode or whatever. I don't remember, because the Billy Nuke, I think once it hits water, it actually does go off. So I think missiles just hit the water, which he's that far down under the surface, it's not going to matter anyways. Because, again, the cruisers, the Sirens, have the missile redirect systems on board. So they are a nice Cybran unique technology or ability. We do see PD, not really going to be here. Any more over here? Nah, a couple more. I see some T2 PD. I was just thinking if he built some PD kind of similar over there just in case some destroyers came to say hi, but looks like they're not going to do that, so that's not what's happening at this point. 19-19 on the clock. Team 1 at 400-ish. Team 2 460-ish. So a little bit in favor for Team 2 in that regard. It's still a 3v3 game. No one else has died yet. Yet being the key word in that story. T2 Naval Headquarters, honestly pretty far forward for the eastern player of Katawunga, who does have T3 land tech now done. And now it allows Team 2 to kind of destroy that facility with their destroyers that didn't really have to go very far. But to be fair, there's really nothing from here to there anyways, besides some forces that Team 1 is now moving in to intercept. So maybe they would have had time for that. But with the facility there, Team 2 should just send the spam in and call it a day. There looks like some cruisers in the area as well shooting at that facility. So that T2 Naval Headquarters is dead by all accounts, because I don't think it's... Yep, and it's gone. Yep, there it goes. And doesn't exist anymore. And look at that. Units transferred over to Picoo from PFJ. It looks like he's focused more on this avenue. Actually, he has mainly just engineers and just a couple of units. And that's why he's going straight for T3, and he's building the glorious unit of the Neptune class battlecruiser. He's going to build 2 of them. And he's going to build a nice little battleship, and then looks like a destroyer. He's also going to get a Cooper and a bulwark. Nice mixture of units, but focusing on the Neptunes first. Lovely to see that. I do like the Omni in the base as well. I would like to maybe see one up here, just so it's a little bit further northward for Team 2. Same thing for Team 1, maybe getting a radar system here just to get some inclination of what Team 2 is up to. Western side, the hover spam is still happening for PFJ, and it's just getting bombed by Team 1 bombers. Interceptors are coming to say hi, and it's just kind of a mixed bag over there, so nothing really is happening over there. Unless the Yenzian just full send it, which they actually just could do. They'll take casualties on their way there, but they will inflict some damage on the mainland at a bare minimum. We do see a nice little fleet of Sirens and destroyers here, some Salems. And we do see a Cooper. No, that's Cooper. Sorry, that's a Mermaid. Not a Cooper. But the Mermaid's in the mix as well. Not as many forces as I would say there's maybe not as many destroyers here for Team 2. And, of course, the cruisers can use their AA guns on land, or in this case, naval targets. And it is proven to just throw lead down range does help, because it kind of just blankets the zone of just stuff. It's like flak, but it's shooting at you on the ground or in the water instead of in the air. And it's back and forth, but now that the Neptune has arrived, I don't see that really working out. T2 additional facility over there. The main one is back here. Definitely smart to keep the facilities, at least the headquarters is back along the edge. And yeah, build frontline facilities for cutting down travel time and whatnot. But, you know, it's just keeping the one on the front line, not the best idea. Unless you can firmly secure it, then that's different. But since there's a little bit of avenue there, a little bit of avenue there, I know I'm kind of picking on Katawunga, which I don't mean to be, but it's just a good example of why you keep the headquarters back instead of on the front. And again, no worries putting a regular T2 here. It's just, it would be better to put one back there. Or even if you had 2 headquarters, that would also work because you have a backup. But anyway, cruisers shooting at Riptides that are just sitting there. Don't know what that's about, but they're just sitting there getting veterancy. So Team 2's Picoo will take that, I guess. And these units from Team 1's DillyDally actually are just running around dilly-dallying. You know, they're kind of going over here, and they're going to go over there, and then they're kind of going over here. But they're not really focusing on one vector or the other. It is allowing Team 2 to really bulk up. Team 1 does not have T3 naval tech yet. They're halfway there for Chuck Norris, and then not even started here for DillyDally. And he has double base as well, but he's getting hit decently hard by those missiles. And look at that. The Yenzian actually did invade. It looks like the TMD that was troublesome is no longer there. There is another one here, but kills off that mech anyways. And the missile will probably try to go after that one mech. It still hits because it has to take 2 shots to kill it off. So there it goes. T3 starting here for Katawunga. He might try to go for some some Ravagers over here. I mean, that'll kind of help, but Ravagers need land to be placed, and you can only go so far. You can't, put here, put the Ravagers there, and then shoot everything in the water, and then be able to create a little bit of some buffer zone and create, more Ravagers there, and then shoot that way. Kind of PD creep, but across water. The water's too big to do that. So he has to get either something over there, missile, artillery, to take out at least the facility at a bare minimum, because that's really causing him the most issues are these cruisers. He does have access to Cybern and UEF, mainly UEF, and we might just do Percy's and just walk across and kind of call it a day. We'll see why not. Or if he gets some Cybern tech, build some bricks, and then send them over and just use their torpedoes and blow everything up. You can also do that. Middle of the map, Team 2 now starting to exert a little bit more dominance. And again, those couple of T3 units helping out a ton to do that. And we do see a nice little summoners mixed in there as well. It's just lots and lots of firepower, but not a lot of DPS, at least from the cruisers themselves, from the Sirens. And are those Neptunes, they have veterans yet? Actually, they haven't gotten a single kill yet, which They just did now, so never mind, but it's kind of odd that they haven't. Yeah, the only worrisome then thing is that there's just a lot of destroyers for both of the teams here, and that can really put a damper on the everything. But the Neptunes outrange them, and the Summits do as well, so they should be able to deal with them pretty quickly and also benefit the Team 2. Those units aren't really moving, so the cannons on board those Summits don't really have to worry about missing as much as that one literally just missed because the unit moved. You know, exactly my point. Another Neptune's online. That's number 3. He's starting to stack those up quite nicely. He has one facility producing, looks like Summits and Bulwarks, and then one kind of producing kind of a 1 or 2 of everything kind of thing. So consistency with a little bit of variety. I love that. Love that mixture of both. And it looks like, I mean, Team 1 is starting to get a little bit more pushing in. It's giving them a little bit more room to go for Team 3 battleships now. Again, they are both Cybrans in the pond, so they have Galaxies, and they also have Plan Bs being their nice little nuke sub, and then, of course, the aircraft carrier. We do see over here to the east, T3 facility also done, built in that nice little cove there, building the Summits. Doing very well for him as well, getting those battleships online. I am surprised he didn't go for Neptunes as well. He has access to it. Might as well. Your opponent's doing it. Might as well do it as well. Speaking of that, he literally does do it, so I can just throw all those words right out the window. And again, this is the point I was talking about earlier, why I think that's why the Neptunes weren't pushing in as much, because look at that annihilation from Team 2. Said absolutely no. Not dealing with that. No, we can have Neptunes. You can't have Neptunes. Are those engineers trying to repair that destroyer? Yes, that is exactly what's trying to happen. They are trying to repair that destroyer. And are they spending mass? They are spending a little bit of mass. That is hilarious. Are they just adding more mass to the wreck? Is that a thing? Can you add more mass to a wreck? I don't think you can. But they're surely going to try to do that. Maybe they're just lowering it into the abyss. I mean, engineers are going to continue doing that. His engineers from another player from Team 2, PFJ. And there goes the wreck, and they can now scoop it up. It looks like they're saying attack the western front. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 Neptunes now. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Neptunes now. I mean, they easily could wipe out a lot of those destroyers. The laser weapons are very efficient and very effective at killing stuff off. Lots of twerps, though, from Team 1's not helping anything out. Looks like they're targeting just destroyers. Would like to see more AA, though, from Team 2, both in the UEF and the Aeon tech, just because missiles, but also just because they all need cruisers. It's like having your own torpedoes, torpedo bombers for a naval plate. You just kind of have to have that. You kind of also just have to have cruisers because you need AA because of this. But unless you have an air player that can come in and swoop in every time, that's different. You can do that every time, you don't need cruisers. But if you can't do that, you need cruisers. And we do see now the longer, more drawn-out stage of the Navy is starting to play out as the Neptunes, as the Summits, the Galaxies, the, I would assume, Omens. Not yet, but soon. Omens and maybe Hathums. Maybe if it goes for the T3 Seraphim tech, will start to play out at 33 minutes on the clock. Again, Team 1, 740. Team 2, 1.1k mass per second is a lot to be ahead. That is divided up between 3 players, so it's about 100 mass each player ahead at a bare minimum. That's a lot of extra mass to just have to spend on stuff. So we will eventually see a little bit more build-up for Team 2. Navy is a little bit more delayed in terms of visual or just like numerical, not maybe numerical, but it's just you don't see the effects of winning or losing it immediately. Like you see the air fight, once you have it, okay, somebody won, or it's a tie or something. Land fight, same thing. Naval fight, because units are kind of slowly coming in all the time and coming out, that you really don't see it until it's almost too late, unless something crazy happens like a nuke or game ender or something. So that amount of eco right now, I mean, Team 2 is not looking terribly ahead of Team 1, but if that trend continues, it is not going to be good for Team 1 at any degree. So let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. Of course, you haven't, because why not at this point? hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Oh, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the video. I do apologize for releasing yesterday's video on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. I just clicked the box for time of day, and I forgot to make sure that it was on Wednesday instead of Tuesday. I will be taking a trip at the end of the month. Well, the end of actually technically the beginning of next month, but technically the very... Anyway, I'll be gone for about a week, so I'm getting videos set up ahead of time so that way there'll be something released every day. So I'm starting that stacking up process. Should have started that sooner, but I kind of got a little lazy during the holidays, so it happens. But anyways, that's why that happened. Apologies for that. I'm going to try to make sure I watch out for that, so thank you for your patience with that. And I would have said that on yesterday's video, but yesterday's video was already recorded and technically semi-released, so couldn't do that. But anyway, I really do appreciate all the time and attention to give to these videos. I mean, I really do, especially these ladder matches, because they're not as, I'd say, popular for the most part in terms of the more custom Phantom, games, whatnot. So I really do appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. I do like this column of Yenzing that's inbound from Team 2's JJ. Torpedoes can't hit it because, again, they're not in the water, but we do see a couple, not a lot, but just a couple of destroyers are like, nah, that should be enough. They are going to get onto land most likely and kill off maybe those 2 mexes. Maybe they'll divvy off to that one. It will be a loss. Team 1 already getting PT to deal with it now. Nice quick reactions there from DillyDally. He's not dilly-dallying about at all. And in the middle of the map, it's still, again, just a slugfest at this point. We have summits versus summits. Do we have any omens yet? We do have 1 omen. Looks like more facilities on the way. No. Oh, we do see more Neptunes. We do a nice little eclectic mix. Rasp boys, I would imagine, from that quantum gateway. And don't know what else is happening over there. Looks like just more air buildup. And looks like he's mainly focusing on eco right now. JJ, he has missile and T3 on board. He's, again, doing those hover tech units. He actually doesn't get the T2 mechs or even the T3 mechs. Titan's starting to chase him down. That's a little unfortunate. He could have at least grabbed that one and denied the upgrade. Granted, he doesn't know the upgrade is happening, but he could have denied it nonetheless, even without knowing. And it's just a slugfest in the middle of the map here at this point. I do like the parachute bulwarks coming in. Same type of unit, just the only one in the game that can go on the water. That's actually a boat, because the other 2 hover shielding is technically a land unit, the Asylum, and then the T3 Seraphim one, which, again, half the names I have no idea how to pronounce, and the other half of names I just pretend to know how to pronounce because I've heard other people pronounce them. So that's how I know how Awasaw and the Yathotha and the... I always say Ilshi. I don't say the full name of it. So, oh, the Zui. I think the Zui is kind of easy to pronounce. Anyway, that's just how I pronounce those names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the galaxies with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the summits. That's 12 battleships. That's a dozen. Versus Team 2's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 summits and 1 omen. There are some Neptunes in there, so that kind of semi doesn't get reflected. Again, those galaxies are kind of getting closer, so that's nice, but the Neptunes aren't within range. I think they're barely out of range, to be honest. Yeah, look at that. That summit comes into range just briefly for that one, but the firepower is raining down from Team 1 heavily. And I thought Team 2 kind of had it in the bag with the eco, and they're still progressing in terms of the differential. That's going to be different, though. That's going to make a difference. 100%. Nice little Atlantis class submarine aircraft carrier thingamajig is online. And the one galaxy out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if it's just providing a little bit of intelligence for Team 1, but they know where the units are, so I don't know why he's kind of just floating in the front there. Western side, not really a lot of aggression, but there is this soon to happen. That's going to be a nice surprise. That entire base is dead, regardless if it gets killed off, right here or not. Oh, I heard it. Where is it? Billy Nuke lands from Team 1's Katawunga. And he wants the Wunga, I guess. TNT 3.5k mass, 5-star vet, killed off 39 units / structures. That is a chunk of eco dead for Team 2. Drops Team 2 overall to 1.4. They were at 1.5 momentarily. And we do see the Atlantis is moving in. Again, it is weak to torpedoes because, again, it doesn't have its own torp defense. And it is emerged. It is on the surface. It needs to submerge immediately because it is going to be annihilated. 3 in the Navy is killing me, says PFJ. That's really what's hurting Team 2 in the middle right now. We really only have 1.5 players. Picoo is focusing on air and Navy. But pretty much for the most part, Team 1, it's everybody's in Navy, maybe 2.5 if you want to count the Katawunga going for air, which is kind of odd, but you know, we would think maybe DillyDally would go for it. But he has a nuke online. Love to see that. SMD right after that. Would have maybe liked to see them built simultaneously or whatnot, but he is building it now. I guess SMD is loading now. SMD is already loaded, protecting the facilities there. There is a Tempest coming online. The most range for at least a battleship in the game, those things are... They are slow, so you can kind of, if you time it right with missiles, can do very well. But, you know, it'll still be online. And it can produce its own units, just like the Atlantis, just not an aircraft carrier. It's a naval unit. The only unit in the game, naval-wise, that can build other naval units. Like the Fat Boy. Kind of. Because technically the Crab can do that as well. Chicken has emerged, and it's kind of just sitting there. Looks like it's going after all the PD emplacements. Looks like the Ravagers are targeted next. A lot of firepower is raining in it. It's already dropped below 50% hit points, but most of the defenses are now offline. I mean, the Ravagers are still doing some work, to be honest with it, though. It's Chicken's now in the red. Needs to move up at least a little bit more, to be honest, to be a little bit more effective with dealing with all of that. We do see a couple of gunships are inbound. That should be more than enough to deal with it now. And there goes 11,000 hit points and falling. Yeah, that's... I mean, he killed off most of the mexes. Kind of opened the door for all the Othams, to be honest. ASFs come in. They protect the chicken long enough. It looks like a little bit of it. A little bit of air fight starting to happen. Billy Nuke is inbound. Looks like... Was that from... Is that Katawunga over there? That is Katawunga over there. He flew himself over there. Billy Nuke lands. Kills off maybe one of the Othams. Yeah, a couple of Othams starting to chase him. He's at 5-star vet, so it's a little bit less of a worry. He does have also gun online. He probably has overcharge, kicking in once in a while, so he should be fine momentarily. But once that other group of Othams come to say hi, he might not be as healthy. We do see the UEF are doing UEF things as always. Novax is online. Tempest is almost done. I feel like that took a while to build that. 42 minutes on the clock, and now we have Eastern Invasion now from Katawunga again, while Team 2 is rebuilding. Transport is getting shot at. There's another transport here, so Katawunga will be able to get out of there. Those other Othams are soon to be inbound. The Galaxy came to say hi, and both of the transports shot down by the ASFs. He is not getting out of there. Billy Nuke's going to land actually nicely in the middle of those 4 Othams. Kills off another one, and here comes the air fight. It's going to be either team... It's Team 2 is probably going to have it, to be honest. We do see those cruisers are coming in. That's going to start whittling down all of the ASFs for Team 2, so they need to get out of there immediately. The AA was just a little bit too late to the party, but it did get probably maybe a dozen or so ASFs before they really got out of range. But the chicken is still on its march. It's up to 3-star vet now, 21,000 hit points. And honestly, this should be more than enough to kill it off. A T3 mech will be lost, but hey, that's better than losing a comm at this point. APM is definitely hurting for everybody, given it's 43 minutes on the clock already. And Otham's going to kill off maybe that last T3 mech, maybe not. Maybe. Comm says PFJ. They know where ChuckNorrising is hiding. They have the satellite overhead. They would imagine that's what it is, just because that's the only unit that would sit there long term like that. And the chicken actually opens up and kills off the battleship, and actually kills off a couple of those cruisers as well. This is not good for Team 1's cruiser section of their fleet. All of the battleships are tasked to deal with that. And then here comes the chicken, going to get hit by a Billy Nuke. The Billy Nuke does not hit the chicken. Actually only kills off a couple of Othams. Jesters come in to finish off the chicken, but that's a large portion of that fleet divvied up for just one unit, partially just because we see some facilities being built. to help with, looks like, harms production, which is helping, to be fair. But now with the Tempest, I was going to say Novak, but Tempest inbound, 3 Atlantis now here eating away at the units here for Team 1. It's slowly eating them up, but it is slowly. Again, the harms, just like the Atlantis, do not have torp defense. They are only offensive, not defensive, unless you consider offensive a good defensive strategy. In that regard, we do see the T3 Naval Headquarters is being heavily repaired due to the fact that it looks like the Novax is saying, go away. This one over here was denied, actually, so that's probably why there's the focus on producing or keeping that one alive. There is a Monkey Lord here, and it's not pushing in with its laser. That's, oh, okay, never mind. You can just shut that right down. Nuke is online, and as we've seen in last ladder match, you got to fire that thing as soon as you get it, or at least as soon as you know it's going to land, or possibly can land, or you're rushing for something. You just got to fire it sooner rather than later, regardless if it's a second or 2 minutes or 5 minutes. You just got to fire the thing. Team 2 obviously is aware of the nuke. If they weren't aware of it by now, there's the mark. We do see, again, I'm kind of worried about JJ's position. He's even like, kind of worried about that. So he's going to fall back. A nice target would be his starting location there, his current location there, his facility there, or even obviously the air grids and Novaxes. Now number 2's online, but that's SMD protected. That's SMD protected. That over there, I mean, you could hit that with a nuke, but it's been hit multiple times by literally everything else. So it's not really worth it. Team 2 might be able to neutralize it, though, with the Novax. There's only one of them, though. It's they are assisting it now. Looks like it did take some damage. So looks like, again, you got to fire it sooner rather than later. At least killing off some of the infrastructure for JJ would help out, at least with the, massive amounts of Authams that are inbounds, or the next wave of them that are inbound or so. But with a lead like this in terms of eco, maybe 1,000 mass in Team 2's favor. Not 1,000 mass per second. 1,000 mass in Team 2's favor for eco at 1.7 to almost 800. 4 Atlantises, 5 of them soon to be in the front line. We have Harms going after, looks like Yassau's plus, good luck. Yassau's plus Atlantis, or just, here's some torpedoes, go. And some being, here's all the torpedoes, go. And technically the Harms can be ground fired as well, so they're not only vulnerable to other torpedoes. But look at this, Team 1 has their own Atlantis. Not only is it being hit by a ton of torpedoes from Team 2, but again, the Yassaus are actually acting as the torp defense for some of the Atlantis, the ones that they're shadowing at least, because it allows for them to grab the torpedo and say, nah, you're not hitting that, and is able to protect it even longer. So it's such a good combo using both those with one another. You can also do that with Coopers. Those are more targetable. You could probably do that with any sub in the game. I think every sub besides the Atlantis has torp defense on it. Also, a lot of other units have it, but specifically subs. And look at that. Look at that summit just getting eaten. Look at that. Those torpedoes are eating good today. And then there's a couple of artillery shots, obviously, from the summits. And the Tempest that's still eating them alive. Slowly. It's a very slow death with that Tempest. But it's still... What is this? Why are you all assisting that one little mech there? That's just still T1. Looks like the nuke is still fine. T3 Naval Headquarters is about to be destroyed. It's trying to be repaired as quickly as it can be. And it looks like the engineers, just not enough build power, or they're just assisting the battleship, one or the other. Looks like it was maybe a mixture of both. There is a chicken versus a monkey happening. We have some look at this. We have 2, 4, 6, 8 battleships over here in the corner. They could be over here trying to maybe ground fire the Atlantis, trying to go after the Tempest. Like, there's so much more firepower that could have been brought to bear, but they all got pulled back. And for Janet, this was a valid attack from Team 2 to deal with, but I just don't know if that was worth what's happening currently now, because the Galaxies also have torpedoes on board, so they can help out with subs at least the best they can, given, again, it's a regular sub versus just a battleship. They also don't... Do they have torp defense again? They do not. They have TMD, though. Nuke is inbound. They were fearing that the nuke would be destroyed, which... Valid. because there's 2 satellites over here. We do see that the nuke is going to land where a decent amount of the battleship just hanging out. Bombers inbound from Team 1 trying to deal with all of the assets. Again, shoot at the stuff that can block you, or shoot at the stuff shooting at you, and then shoot at everything else. Not a bad idea there. Looks like they're still targeting. Looks like it's kind of a mixture of the battleship with the Yasels. Yasel's probably a more valuable target. Here goes the nuke. Kaboom! Kills off a couple of omens, but I don't know. You got to get those battleships back over here. Yeah, there is the threat from the chicken and whatnot over here, but T3 units and maybe PD and artillery would probably be a better way to deal with that. T2, T3, mobile artillery kind of thing versus using all of the battleships. And they are about to kill the chicken. That is working, but it's a lot of firepower, and especially given that headquarters was offline for a while. Now it's back online. This one is now currently offline. Team 2 is obviously up 3-2 in the headquarters this game for Navy. And with more Yasels on the way, the front line is just not looking good. Now there's 5 of them. There were 5 Atlantis still online. I think those were the 5 that I mentioned earlier. Oh, no, I think that's maybe from Team 2. Maybe 6. Maybe there was 6 of them. But there's still a lot more there for Team 1 to deal with. And now we have Autumns in the base. Oh, this is great from JJ. Oh, look at that. Just an annihilation of that base from DillyDally. That's his main base. SMD is about to go down. There it goes. T3 air quarters is about to go down. There's a Titan hiding over there. Don't know why it's over there. Probably because of the other units from earlier. T3 air quarters is going to survive for a little bit while longer, but I just don't think it's going to work for Team 1. We do see satellites over here starting to target the air base over here from Katawunga. And there's just not a lot of damage happening to Team 2 now, especially over here to the west from JJ. He's had pretty much no issues, bar maybe the very beginning and then a little bit of pushback from DillyDally once Kiriy was dead. But here comes DillyDally on a transport. Billy Nuke is inbound. Looks like it was headed over here. These units are sitting still, so that would be a nice kill for him. It looks like DillyDally wants to end the game in a very explosive way. I don't know if he has... I don't think he has laser online. And there goes a couple of AA shooting at him. And Billy Nuke lands. Does... some units are killed off. Does it miss because it hit the environment? Oh, it hit the air. So something in the air hit it. That's a little unfortunate. Oh, the comm. Oh, he might make it to its destination wherever he's going. ASFs are catching up to him. I don't know if he has, laser or not, but he is going to die. There he goes. Team 1 loses DillyDally to Picoo's ASFs. I don't know if he would have... Actually, he would have been maybe fine to land there. Team 2 is building an artillery there. It looks like another Novax is online. Artillery is almost done for Picoo. Actually, T3 artillery, it's a 20 by 20. I don't think it'll even reach that northwest corner. And looks like the air grid is being chopped to bits by the satellites from Team 2's PFJ. Oh, yeah. So it reaches the base for Katawunga. It does not reach realistically anything. Maybe you can try to edge it a little bit with that facility there. But there goes Team 1's Katawunga to control K. And then right after that, there goes ChuckNorrising. He had to go do something else, I guess. I don't know. He had to push down on the earth, I guess, and had to go. But anyway, Team 2 wins the game. 20 seconds on the clock. And that is it. Honestly, as much as there was a lot of naval pressure from both players, from both teams, but technically a little bit more from Team 2 at the end, I honestly think that way more devastating for Team 1. You had the land invasion eventually happen and wipe out that starting location. So Team 1 was already down a set of mexes that nobody needed to have less mexes in this map, especially just because there's just not that very many. So every mex loss is a bigger deal than, let's say, a map with a lot more mexes. If you lose, even a couple of them, it's not, it's just a couple of it's whatever. And then once the Autumns came in and wiped out that position, that was not great, and that kind of just set the downward spot. I think that's probably what encouraged DillyDally to just kind of fly over and say hi. And again, that force of chicken, couple of Autumns, it distracted a decent chunk of that fleet for Team 1. I mean, look at the the cruisers that were here, the battleships that were here. I mean, this could have been thrown over here. And again, in terms of raw numbers, it was probably about, if those were included, I'm counting those in the mix as well, it was probably about even. Granted, there was that, looks like they did kill off the Tempest at some point. Looks like it was is that attack missile snipe? Maybe. I can't remember what the missiles look like. I had to fire it from some, those are ASF. I don't know what could have fired them, to be honest. I don't see any UEF governors nearby, but no, those are frigates. But anyway, yeah, it's just the Atlantis were definitely not helping. The combination of the Yassos was great, so I don't know. I think Team 2 overall did a very good job. Same with Team 1. They just needed more eco, and I don't think they ecoed as hard as Team 2 did, or transitioned sooner. Maybe Team 1 they did a little bit sooner job. Maybe it would have been, again, anyway, point being, I do think JJ gets MVP because that push on that western side did such a good job. And again, the satellites are kind of nice to see. The Atlantis are kind of nice. The Neptune is always nice to see. All that sort of stuff. The Tempest as well. But if Team 1 maybe had launched more attacks over here and just kept the pressure, maybe it would have balanced out. You know, you'd have the attack on the western side, attack on the eastern side. Some of this would have been pulled back to deal with that, and kind of been the same situation, and maybe it would have evened out, but hindsight's 2020 and whatnot. So hopefully everybody enjoyed. Let me know down in the comments what you felt deserved MVP, the game overall, whatever the situation may be. Thank you so much for watching the very end of the video as always, and I will see all of you in the next one.